Welcome to the Florida Gardener Podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer, and today we are discussing some of my favorite plants for the fall and winter months. Floridians, we are headed into the best time to garden. November through March are our equivalent of spring and summer everywhere else. The weather is more enjoyable. We are happier outside, and so are our plants. Everything is blooming and growing. You'll have greater success in the garden this time of the year because pest and disease pressure drops along with the humidity. And if you're one of those folks who loves all the classic nostalgic flowers grown up north, well, here is your chance to plant them. Roses, hydrangeas, snapdragons, petunias, pansies, violas, have at it. Just remember, most of these behave like annuals down here. So enjoy them until March or April and then say farewell. And don't forget edibles. Lettuces, tomatoes, even strawberries. Have at it. The world is your oyster right now. If you're growing edibles, I strongly suggest you plant them in grow bags, large containers, or raised beds. That way you can control the soil and avoid pests such as root knot nematodes, which are microscopic worms that damage crops such as tomatoes and carrots. Yes, overall there is less pest pressure this time of the year, but root knot nematodes are one that we will unfortunately never escape. Okay, so I could go on and on talking about all the things you can grow for the next 6 or so months, but you'd get pretty tired of my voice. So I've dwindled that list down to 5 of my favorite plants to help kick us off into gardening season. Number 1 is the Cranberry Hibiscus. Most gardeners grow hibiscus for their flowers, but not this one. The gorgeous deep purple foliage is definitely the star of the show with this lady. It seriously is the perfect dark plant for fall and seasonal containers. It's also great in a goth garden. Check out my last episode, episode 15, for more on dark foliage plants. Anyway, we don't get much of a color change here in Florida, especially Central and South Florida. But plant a few of these in your yard and you'll totally get all the pumpkin spice cozy feels you've been craving for the landscape. I promise. The Cranberry Hibiscus is a multi-stem shrub reaching 3 to 6 feet tall with rich burgundy foliage and handsome serrated or palmate leaves resembling those of a red Japanese maple tree. It has pink or red flowers off and on throughout the year, but honestly, the flowers are just a bonus with this one. This long-lived perennial loves full sun and moisture. Plant it in the landscape or in a large pot. Okay, number 2 on the list is Zinnias. You might be thrown off with this one because they are a sun-worshipping, heat-loving annual, but I gotta be honest, I hate growing these flowers during the hotter months because powdery mildew loves these guys. The wet, humid environment during a Florida summer is perfect for this nuisance fungal disease. It covers the zinnia leaves in a white powdery coating, and it is very difficult to control without the use of fungicides. And guys, if you're new to the podcast, I'm all about making gardening easier. I rarely use chemicals of any sorts. Just plant the right stuff at the right time of the year, and you won't have to fight nature. Okay, so anyway, fall and winter are the best times to start zinnias in my opinion. You might find some rooted and potted at the garden center, but I recommend growing them from seed for 3 reasons. Number 1, the selection. Your garden center may carry a couple potted or even have a few zinnia seed packets on hand. But if you buy seeds online, you're going to have a ton of options when it comes to flower color and size. There are these massive dinner plate zinnias that remind me of dahlias. There are classic zinnias your grandmother grew. And the colors, oh my goodness. Cream, pinks, a gorgeous peach apricot, even lime green. My favorite places to order seeds online are Baker Creek and Johnny's Selected Seeds. The second reason I recommend starting them from seed is they're extremely easy to grow. Aside from sunflowers, I can't think of another perfect flower for any newbie to start from seed. Anyone can grow zinnias. And the third reason is they grow quick. Some annuals that you start from seed can take up to 180 days to reach maturity. And perennials can sometimes take years to see that first bloom. But not zinnias. These annuals go from a tiny seed to a gorgeous striking flower in as little as 60 days. This is a great flower to grow if you want a burst of color in the landscape this season, or maybe you have kids and you're looking for a fun outdoor activity now that the temperatures are getting ready to drop a bit. Zinnias are also a fabulous cut flower. They are a cut and come again flower, meaning you get more than one flower per plant. When you cut them, more grow, so you can have fresh flowers on your kitchen windowsill every week. Okay, the third plant on our list today is Muhly Grass. You know it's fall in Florida when you see the fluffy pink to purple flower stalks of this ornamental grass gently blowing in the wind. Muhly grass is a Florida native. It's naturally found in pine flatlands and coastal uplands. It's used a lot in commercial landscapes, and it's starting to be incorporated more into residential. When you plant them together in large groups, it's quite striking. Muhly grass is also very forgiving. It doesn't ask for much. It's very hardy and drought tolerant. This long-lasting perennial grass is perfect for incorporating into a wildlife garden or using to cover a large bare area that you kind of just want to fill in and then forget about. I love all ornamental grasses, and this one in particular is perfect for the list as it blooms every fall. They are readily available at almost any garden center, so grab yours now. All right, moving on to number 4. Tropical Hydrangeas. I have a newish love affair with tropical hydrangeas. While not a true hydrangea, they look pretty dang similar. They have large, heart-shaped leaves and produce these gorgeous pink snowball-shaped flowers from fall to spring. So before I complicate things, you can certainly go to the big box store and pick up a vibrant, multicolored hydrangea that you would see up north. Just know that it will behave as an annual down here. But if you love them, now is absolutely the time to enjoy these. So grab it now. I personally would just keep it potted. There's no sense in planting it in the landscape since they are temporary. Anyway, back to tropical hydrangeas. Their botanical name is Dombeya Seminole. And the wonderful thing about these plants is they are a perennial shrub. They thrive down here year-round, making it a perfect landscape plant. The tropical hydrangea is native to, you guessed it, tropical regions, and this gorgeous flowering shrub brightens the cooler months with its glowing pink petals. I've noticed they flower the most December through March, so plant yours now to enjoy all the blooms. Now this lady gets a bit large. Make sure you have space as it grows to about 10 feet tall and wide. And FYI, it might be a little trickier to source, so I'd call up some of your local nurseries to confirm availability before driving out. Moving on to number 5, Liatris. Liatris, aka Blazing Star, blooms prolifically during the fall. I especially notice them in October. Now I gotta be honest, for the most part of the year, they are pretty underwhelming. The grass-like leaves are narrow and inconspicuous, forming a clump. But don't let that dissuade you, because this has got to be one of the most striking, unique flowers in the fall landscape. Liatris is a Florida native wildflower and has highly unusual flower heads featuring tiny and colorful star-like blossoms arranged around a long, upright bottle brush spire. They are long, fluffy spikes of lavender color bursting from the earth. This will forever be one of my favorite fall blooming flowers. Liatris can be started from seed or corms. Corms are sort of like bulbs for anyone who isn't familiar. However, if you want to enjoy their beauty this fall, I'd go ahead and buy a mature flowering plant from the nursery now. Your best bet with this one is a native nursery. I'd call ahead to confirm availability before running around. Liatris does well potted or planted in the landscape. They spread underground via corms, but very slowly so it's easy to manage. They are fantastic for wildflower meadows and cottage gardens. You can even use them in a cut flower garden. Although, disclaimer, they are not cut and come again like zinnias, meaning once you cut a Liatris flower, a new one will not come up from that same stem. So make sure you're okay parting with them in the landscape before bringing them indoors. Okay, before we wrap this up, I have a bonus plant for you. Blue Spruce Sedum, aka Blue Spruce Stonecrop. This is a mat-forming ground cover succulent with small blue leaves and an appearance reminiscent of the needles of a blue spruce conifer. The dramatic foliage is perfect to help us get into the holiday season. While it can certainly be planted in the landscape, I think it stands out best in a seasonal container arrangement. It's adorned with blue-green needle-like leaves arranged around lax stems like spruce needles. Aside from the poinsettia, nothing says Christmas more than blue spruce sedum for me. I suggest planting a red poinsettia in the center of a pot and then add the blue spruce sedum around it. The sedum has a low-growing, trailing, or spreading habit, so combining the two together creates a stunning and long-lasting holiday arrangement. While I have found this one in the garden center, it's a little more rare, so I'd purchase it online as a mature rooted plant if possible. All right, you guys, that wraps up episode 16 of The Florida Gardener. We will see you soon for episode 17. And in the meantime, if you'd like to download one of my Etsy garden templates or check out my social, you can access everything through my website, rootsredefined.com. That's roots, R-O-O-T-S, redefined, R-E-D-E-F-I-N-E-D.com. All right, thanks guys. We'll see you again soon.